I'm Minta Alfred Jr.
I am Saint Uriel Adijen Phoenix.
And I'm Aminia Pokwat Samuel. We are the representative of the St. Hubert Seminary in the National Cyber Champions Competitions 2024 by Cyber Ghana. We were tasked to present on the problems that the IT section of the Electoral Commission may face in the upcoming election and how to remediate those problems. So sit back and enjoy our presentation. Thank you. So to start with the presentation, I'll start with the scenario 1. The danger here is we can have looters going to the polling station to steal ballot boxes and biometric verification devices. And then the ballot boxes contain the vote cast. And then biometric verification devices contain the information of eligible voters, which will be verified before the people are allowed to vote. And then when they are being stolen, it affects the availability of information. You may ask how, because they are being stolen. Since the BVDs contain the information of eligible voters, and then they must verify before they are allowed to vote. The eligible voters will not be allowed to vote since those devices are missing. And then having ballot boxes, because the vote cast will also not be available during the time of counting. And then the consequence will be the information of the voting will be compromised, and then the overall adverse effect will be that the electorates are disenfranchised, which are the rights of the eligible voters, will be curtailed because those devices or those equipments that are to allow them to vote will not be available. The recommendation can be educating citizens on the threats and violence and also their penalties attached to them. And then also having backup systems in case anything happens at the polling stations. And then go with the scenario 2. Let's say before election, a malicious insider goes to the EC database and inserts an infected flash drive into the system, which may in turn corrupt the information, which is the voters' data on the database. And then this will affect the availability and confidentiality of information. Availability because when it's corrupt, it may be deleted. And then also confidentiality because it may leak the information of eligible voters. And in this case, the voters' data will not be accessible if it's being deleted. And then it will cause the eligible voters their right to vote to be curtailed. And then we can have a recommendation to be having strong anti-malware, which will then prevent the malicious software to be curtailed or to be quarantined before it takes effect on the computer. And then we can have the scenario 3 to be a cyber criminal can send a spam or an email and also a phishing link into the computer of the EC official. And then in this case, when it's being sent to the EC official and he clicks on the link in the message, the malicious outsider will now gain access to his computer from a different location. And then the computer contains the database, which in this case, he can choose to do whatever he wants with the information on the database. The CI affected here is availability and integrity. Availability because in case he chooses to delete information on the database, it will not be accessible to the EC officials, and integrity because the security is being breached there. And then due to this, the voters' data will not be accessible by the EC officials, which will cause disenfranchisement on the side of eligible voters. And then we also have recommendation to be installing of strong anti-malwares, which will then notify the user of the computer that a phishing message or a spam has been sent to him. And then exercising caution when opening emails. We go to the scenario 4. It's possible that the devices containing the biometric verification will be stolen, which are the BVDs, which are the biometric verification devices. When they are being stolen, the CI affected is the integrity and the confidentiality. Integrity because security is being breached there, and confidentiality because he may leak the information on the devices. Then we also will have difficulty in verifying eligible voters during the voting time. We can have some of the remedies to be physical security, which is having security officials at the location in case anything else happens. And also having real-time monitors, which are also event monitoring. And then we go with the scenario 5, which is remote manipulation through the installation of ROT or rootkits. So this will gain the malicious outsider access to the computer from anywhere he or she is without the person who owns the computer being knowledgeable of it. And then this will affect the verification registration database, which is the voter certification database, and also the biometric verification device. And then in this case, the confidentiality will be impacted because he may leak information on those devices. And then we may have the voters that to be inaccessible, which will now cause the voters not to be able to vote. And then the EC computer will be taken control by the external hacker, which you can have a remedy to be the installation of anti-malwares such as RKill or Hitman Pro. In this case, the hacker may find it difficult to install whatever malware on the system. And then we have the scenario 6 to be the hackers may take control of the EC's database through the installation of ransomware. And in this case, they will lock up the system until money is paid to them before they remotely unlock it. This will render the database not to be accessible by the EC officials. And then the CIA affected there is availability because when it's being locked, the information of eligible voters will not be able to access by the EC officials. And we can also have this threatening the political stability and also international credibility at large. And then we may have some of the remedies to be installing anti-malwares, which will then prevent those ransomwares from getting to the computer, and also having security awareness training for the EC officials. We may leave the continuation of the presentation to Saint Uriel to continue. Thank you.
Security measures before election. These are measures put in place to prevent any disturbance during the election process. We start with, some people may decide to cause disturbance during election day. So we advise the EC to make a policy that punishes people who cause violence during election day. Some people who are very faithful to their political party may attack the stronghold of another political party. So this policy will deter such people with any such ideas so that they won't do any such things. 2, we can't forget about doom so. So we must prepare backup generators in case of any power outages. This is to keep the electoral process in a smooth run even during power fluctuations. 3, we should implement an awareness program because we need to make all EC employees knowledgeable about millions of ways through which other people may disrupt the electoral process, such as fraud and spam. 4, the EC must recruit only non-party members. This is to ensure fairness and trust among the EC employees because these individuals will not stand on any side of any political party. Therefore, they will ensure fairness. And also, the EC must perform a thorough background check on all employees so that they would uncover all malicious activities of that individual, know who they can trust as an employee of the EC. I leave the rest of the presentation to my friend Alfred.
In continuation of my colleague's presentation, I proceed to the security measures that should be taken during the 2024 elections. Let's consider our first point, which is establish a security operations center. During elections, fraud may occur, so there is the need for the EC to use a well-established SOC, which is a security operations center, to monitor suspicious activities and help detect fraud and incidents on time during the elections. Moving on to the next point, which is real-time monitoring. There must be a real-time tracking and analysis of several systemic events and activities, including voter registration, ballot casting, and results tabulation, which is referred to as event monitoring in our voting system. We can help to detect fraud and incidents on time during the elections. Also, activate standby generators during doomsday. During elections, prolonged blackouts can occur. We should have a blackout initiative plan which will help in preventing doomsday. This is done by activating the plan, ensuring that all standby generators are effectively on standby to prevent doomsday during the elections. I continue with the security measures after the 2024 election. First, checking the logs of the EC system. We should have a review of logs to uncover any potential dubious activities to help detect and prevent cyber threats and fraud which may occur during the election or after the elections. Finally, post-election investigations and reporting. There must be a review of the logs at the SOC, investigate the fraud and intrusion attempts, and report the fraud and incidents attempts to the needed authorities for immediate resolution. I am Minta Alfred Jr., and this brings us to the end of our presentation. Thank you.